Now, if you are a Windows user, then you're most probably gonna be better off getting some remote server, basically getting some web hosting to process all these emails, because otherwise you may run into many different problems, basically. And then you're gonna try and contact me, obviously, saying that what we've coded doesn't work. I'm lucky enough to be using Mac. On Mac, I'm using MUMP Pro, and with MUMP, it's pretty straightforward. Actually, it works out of the box, basically. Whenever I'm trying to process an email, it's gonna work. I know that there are problems with WAMP or XAMPP whenever you want to, obviously, whenever you are developing PHP applications in these environments, obviously, you may have a problem with processing emails locally. So you may be better off getting a web hosting. But that said, with this course, you've got access to the exercise files. And what I've done this time is inside of the working folder, we have all the libraries which we're going to be using for this specific exercise. Now, we have PHP Mailer, we have Swift Mailer, we have Zend Framework with obviously our Zend Mail as well, and then we have Uploadify. Now, with this Uploadify here, you would have to make a few changes, which I've already made, and I placed the version which we're going to be using in this exercise inside of the JS folder. We've got this Uploadify. I've amended slightly the plugin itself. There's just one line which I've changed in order to make sure that the queue basically is shown above the button rather than under the button. And then uploadify.css is where I've made a few changes as well to style the button a little bit differently and so on. But that's basically what I've done with the Uploadify. So Uploadify, if you leave it here, if you want to have it done different way, you've got the whole plugin basically downloaded from Uploadify site with all the licensing and everything. Obviously, make sure that you read the licenses for all of these libraries and plugins and so on to make sure that obviously you comply with the requirements. Okay, now we start with creating the new folder in the root of our project, and we call it classes. And now, before we move on, we're going to open our PHP mailer. Actually, we can copy the entire folder to the classes directory. Now, if we open the classes, we can see we've got a copy here. What we can remove from here is the test script, test, readme. Once you've read the license, you can remove it, but you should presumably keep it within the folder. Then what we can also remove is examples. We can remove all these docs here and changelog as well. So if we remove all these files, yes, I want to move them to trash. So in that case, we are left with these 3 PHP files here. Then we have extras, language, and a license. So that's our PHP mailer. Now if we copy Swift mailer, actually rather than copying the whole Swift mailer, all we need from Swift mailer is this library folder here. So if we copy this one to the classes, now that's copied. If we rename it, let's rename it so that we know exactly what version it is. So that's the same name of the folder as the main one, and all the files which are within this specific directory are okay. So that's all we need. Now the last one is the Zend framework. If we open Zend framework, and what we need here is to open the library directory and then copy the entire Zend folder with all these classes and so on. So if we copy all this, so now that it's copied, we can close the libraries directory. Then if you want to change obviously the button colors and so on, you can open it. You've got a source files as well, PSD1 sprite as well for all these icons for the with the extensions basically and so on. So we can close our working directory now, we can close our classes and move to the next video.